Hello, everyone. From ancient hunter-gatherers to medieval trade empires, many civilizations just up and disappeared. Sometimes their demise is obvious, like when disease or famine strikes. But for many more, the end came quickly and unexpectedly, if not totally inexplicably. Here are 20 civilizations that basically vanished overnight. Number 20, the Olmecs. The Olmecs were a Mesoamerican culture generally considered to be the mother culture of Mesoamerica. They flourished from around 1200 BCE to 400 BCE in what is now the Mexican state of Tabasco and parts of Veracruz. Their civilization encompassed large parts of the tropical lowlands, which was a stark contrast to the later Mesoamerican cultures that lived in the high plateaus. Despite living in a region where agriculture was difficult, the Olmec people developed distinctive art styles and monumental architecture, including several colossal heads carved from solid stone. However, around 400 BCE, the Olmec civilization began to vanish. It's believed they were overwhelmed by the neighboring metropolis, but very little is known about their ultimate fate. We don't even know for sure how to pronounce their name. Some scholars say Olmec, while others say Olmec. Number 19. The Nabataeans. If you've ever seen the movie Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, then you're probably familiar with the amazing rock-cut city of Petra. This magnificent site in southern Jordan was once the capital of the Nabataean kingdom, an Arab civilization that originated in northern Arabia during the 7th century BCE. At its peak in the 2nd century CE, Nabatea was a wealthy trading kingdom due to controlling caravan routes through the Syrian desert. But this same wealth was their eventual undoing. In 106 CE, the Nabataean king refused to allow Roman Emperor Trajan to build a road through his territory, so Rome invaded and annexed Nabatea. Soon after, the Nabataean identity vanished. Number 18. The Indus Valley Civilization. The Indus Valley Civilization was a Bronze Age urban network in South Asia that flourished between roughly 3300 and 1300 BCE. It was one of the world's earliest civilizations, along with ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. The Indus cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro were meticulously planned with grid-like street layouts, advanced sanitation systems, and impressive public works. But around 1900 BCE, the civilization suddenly collapsed. Most scholars agree that climate change played some role in the downfall of the Indus Valley, but there may have been other contributing factors. Some archaeologists believe there was a large-scale migration of people from the Indus cities into the drier regions of northwest India. Others think a devastating earthquake could have destroyed much of the civilization. But whatever happened, the great cities of the Indus Valley were completely abandoned. Number 17. The Ancestral Puebloans. The ancestral Puebloans are the indigenous peoples of the American Southwest who built a distinctive culture in the Chaco Canyon and Mesa Verde regions of New Mexico and Colorado. Between about 550 and 1300 CE, they constructed incredible cliff dwellings, such as Cliff Palace, which contained over 200 rooms carved into the side of a canyon wall. Life for the Puebloans was centered around farming, and they would have lived in these cliff dwellings during the growing season and retreated to caves during the winter. But between 1276 and 1300 CE, the Puebloans abruptly abandoned their homes. Archaeologists are unsure exactly why they left, but it was likely due to a combination of severe drought and pressure from nomadic tribes. Number 16. The Mississippians. The Mississippian culture was a Native American society that flourished in the eastern United States from about 800 to 1600 CE. Like the Puebloans, the Mississippians built large cities around the fertile floodplains of major rivers. The largest of these cities was Cahokia, near present-day East St. Louis, Illinois. At its peak in the 12th century, Cahokia had over 10,000 inhabitants, making it the largest city in all of North America. But just 60 years later, Cahokia was completely abandoned. Researchers have speculated that a series of droughts caused the collapse of Mississippian society, but we really don't know what happened to them. Number 15. The Minoans. The Minoan civilization was an advanced Bronze Age culture that thrived on the Mediterranean island of Crete from roughly 2700 to 1450 BCE. They achieved a high level of prosperity through extensive trade networks that stretched throughout the Aegean. But in 1650 BCE, the Minoans were wiped out by a massive volcanic eruption on the nearby Greek island of Thera, now called Santorini. To make matters worse, the Minoan cities were then overrun by invaders from Mycenaean Greece, bringing an abrupt end to the great civilization. Legend says that these invaders were the legendary Athenians led by King Minos, and it's possible that the famous Minotaur myth originated from this conflict. Number 14. The Hittites. The Hittite Empire was a powerful kingdom in Anatolia, now modern Turkey, during the Late Bronze Age. They rose to prominence around 1600 BCE, and at their peak, they controlled much of the Near East. The Hittite army was formidable, and they fought many famous battles against the Egyptians, most notably the Battle of Kadesh in 1274 BCE. But in 1200 BCE, the Hittite Empire and most other Near Eastern kingdoms collapsed during a period known as the Late Bronze Age collapse. The exact cause of the collapse is still debated among historians, but it was likely due to a combination of climate change, natural disasters, and the mysterious Sea People. Number 13. The Mycenaeans. The Mycenaean civilization was the last great civilization of ancient Greece before the Dark Ages. They emerged in the Late Bronze Age and reached their peak between about 1600 and 1100 BCE. During this time, the Mycenaeans created their own distinct culture that historians call the Greek Age of Heroes. Homeric epics such as the Iliad and Odyssey are set in this era. But around 1100 BCE, the Mycenaean civilization vanished. Their palaces were burned and destroyed, and Mycenaean artifacts suddenly disappeared. For centuries, the history of the Mycenaeans was a complete mystery, but recent research has revealed that there was a mass migration of people out of Mycenaean Greece around this time. Many fled to the safety of the mountains, where they became known as the Spartans and other mountain folk. Number 12. Aksumite Empire. The Aksumite Empire was a powerful trade empire in Ethiopia from about 100 to 940 CE. Its capital city, Aksum, was a hub of international commerce, serving as a vital link between the Roman, Persian, and Indian worlds. The kingdom of Aksum converted to Christianity in 330 CE, becoming the first Christian state in Ethiopia and one of the earliest in the world. But after 630 CE, the Muslim conquests in Arabia cut off trade between the Mediterranean and India, causing the Aksumite economy to collapse. Soon after, the once great empire dwindled away into obscurity. Number 11. Khmer Empire. The Khmer Empire was a mighty medieval kingdom in Cambodia from about 802 to 1431 CE. Its capital city of Angkor was once the largest in the world. The sprawling metropolis covered more than 400 square kilometers and housed over 1 million people. But starting in the 13th century, the Khmer Empire began to mysteriously collapse. This decline coincided with a gradual drying of the climate in the region, forcing the Khmers to abandon their great capital and flee to the mountains. Number 10. Maya Civilization. The classic period of the Maya civilization was a golden age in Mesoamerica that lasted from about 250 to 900 CE. During this time, the Maya built magnificent cities adorned with ornate palaces and temples. The population reached over 10 million people. But starting in the 9th century, the great Maya cities were suddenly abandoned. Tikal was deserted around 900 CE, Caracol by 810 CE, and Piedras Negras by 860 CE. Researchers have suggested that warfare, overpopulation, and environmental collapse could have caused the Maya to abandon their cities. But we really don't know what happened to them. Number 9. Tiwanaku. The Tiwanaku people were an Andean culture in Bolivia who flourished from about 400 to 1000 CE. Their empire encompassed a vast mountainous region, and they built distinctive stone structures with astronomically aligned doorways. But sometime around 1000 CE, the Tiwanaku mysteriously disappeared. No large-scale destruction was found at their major sites, and there was no evidence of warfare or forced migration. It's thought that they may have assimilated into neighboring cultures, but nobody knows for sure. Number 8. Zapotec civilization. The Zapotec civilization was one of the oldest cultures in Mesoamerica, existing for over 3,000 years in present-day Oaxaca, Mexico. Their most important city was Monte Alban, which was founded around 500 BCE. For nearly 2 millennia, Monte Alban thrived as a regional center of trade and culture. But sometime around 750 CE, the Zapotecs mysteriously abandoned the city. Research suggests that prolonged drought and increasing aridity caused food shortages and eventually led to the downfall of Zapotec society. Number 7. The Nabataean Kingdom. The Nabataean Kingdom was an Arab civilization that dominated the Middle East during the Hellenistic and Roman periods. They were renowned as traders, having established caravan routes throughout the Arabian Peninsula. The Nabataeans specialized in trading incense and other luxury goods. But by the end of the 1st century CE, the Nabataean Kingdom was gone. The Nabataean cities were destroyed and their people absorbed into neighboring cultures. Today, only a few scattered ruins remain, leaving us to wonder, where did the Nabataean people go? Number 6. Harappan civilization. The Harappan civilization was an ancient Bronze Age culture in the northwestern region of the Indian subcontinent. It existed alongside the Mesopotamian and Indus Valley civilizations. The twin cities of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa were the cultural and economic capitals. They were remarkably similar to each other in terms of urban planning, brick-making, and even drainage systems. But around 1800 BCE, both cities were abandoned. As with the Indus Valley, researchers aren't 100% sure why the Harappans were deserted, but it was probably another victim of climate change. Number 5. Rapa Nui. Rapa Nui is the name of the indigenous culture of Easter Island, located in the southeasternmost part of the Pacific Ocean. The Rapa Nui people are famous for creating the iconic Moai statues and for nearly wiping themselves out in the process. According to oral tradition, the island was originally settled in the 8th century by people from what is now eastern Polynesia. These settlers brought with them chickens, pigs, and rats, which devastated native plant and animal species. Overpopulation and deforestation then followed, which ultimately led to civil war and cannibalism. By 1722, only about 100 purebred Rapa Nui remained. This dramatic story of ecological collapse was popularized in the book and movie Moai. Number 4. Clovis culture. The Clovis culture was the first widespread prehistoric culture in North America, existing from about 13,000 to 12,800 years ago. Clovis people were big game hunters who traveled in small nomadic bands across the Great Plains. They're best known for their distinctive fluted spear points made of either bone or stone. Around 12,800 years ago, the Clovis way of life suddenly vanished. All Clovis sites were mysteriously abandoned, and their distinctive artifacts disappeared from the archaeological record. Recent research has revealed that the Clovis culture was decimated by a sudden warming period that ended the Ice Age. Number 3. Cucuteni Tripilia. The Cucuteni Tripilia culture was a Neolithic society that flourished in what is now Ukraine and Moldova from about 5,500 to 4,500 BCE. At its peak, the culture had around 500,000 inhabitants and encompassed huge towns that covered more than 100 acres. But around 4,500 BCE, every Cucuteni Tripilia settlement was burned to the ground and abandoned. All that's left are the burnt foundations and skeletons of the people who never left their homes. One theory says that a drought caused the Cucuteni Tripilia to migrate elsewhere. But other researchers say that climate change may have played a larger role. Some think that the burning may have been ritualistic and that the people moved away voluntarily. Number 2. Sea Peoples. The Sea Peoples were a group of Mediterranean raiders who terrorized the Near East during the Late Bronze Age. They first appear in the historical record during the reign of Ramesses II of Egypt. The following century, they invaded and sacked the cities of Hatti and Al-Ashia. The Sea People then attacked the coast of Anatolia, but they were defeated by the local king, Telepenus I. Other groups of Sea People went on to sack the cities of Ugarit and Byblos. But by 1178 BCE, they had completely vanished from the historical record. Historians debate whether the Sea Peoples were multiple groups or one united force. They also don't know where they came from or where they went. Number 1. Göbekli Tepe builders. Göbekli Tepe is one of the most important archaeological sites in the Near East. It's a prehistoric settlement in southeastern Turkey that dates back to 9600 BCE. That makes it older than Stonehenge, the Egyptian pyramids, and the biblical Tower of Babel. Göbekli Tepe was occupied for about 2,000 years until it was deliberately buried around 8000 BCE. There's a theory that the builders of Göbekli Tepe were the forefathers of the Sumerians. But the truth is, we don't know who they were or where they went. Thanks for watching. Which of these lost civilizations was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye.